Good morning to you. Mark Stott with HurricaneTrack.com here. Friday now, the 15th day of December 2023. We got a lot to talk about with this no-named storm. It doesn't have to have a name. You don't have to have tropical storm this or hurricane that, even in December, to have some major impacts. And that's what we're going to see here with this storm system over the next several days. A lot of information, a lot of stuff going on. A lot of people are going to be impacted. I'm just one of a lot of different weather sources. You guys know that. So I'm going to kind of give this to you from my perspective, tell you a few things about where to look for information that can help you to plan accordingly for this big time system. And it is going to be a very impactful system that will affect Florida all the way up the East Coast over the next few days. And I'm going to tell you, if the deep Arctic air were in place, wow, this would be one for the record books. We would be talking feet of snow in some areas and probably blizzard conditions in some of the areas where the isobars are packed close together. But they're packed close together, but it's rain. And we're lacking that Arctic air. I guess that's, depending on how you feel about snow, it could be a good thing or a bad thing, I suppose, that we don't have the deep Arctic air. But we do have our hands full with what we've got already. So here are the precursors to everything. We've got our subtropical jet down here. That's providing some energy. We got the very warm Gulf of Mexico still above normal temperature-wise. A little impulse right here that doesn't have much to do with anything, but another impulse is diving this way. And we can see this better on the GFS up at the 500 millibar height in the atmosphere, about 18,000 feet or so. There's all that energy. It digs in. This is non-tropical in nature, baroclinic forcing instead of convection, where it's all latent heat and thunderstorm driven. This is more dynamics in the atmosphere. The energy is supplied by the atmosphere and not necessarily all from the warm ocean. That contributes to it, but the energy sources are here, and then your Gulf of Mexico provides some of additional energy, whereas tropical cyclones are purely convective, and they drive their energy from the ocean, and they're tight and compact and warm core. This is more cold core, cold air around it overall. That's the structural scientific part of it. It doesn't matter, though, because the impacts are going to be very similar to what we see from a tropical storm, all right? And that's going to move up the East Coast and really bring some big impacts. So for now, the Weather Service homepage, not too active right now in the east. This is going to change, but I show you this because I've talked about this recently. I want you to bookmark this page on whatever device you're using. It's real easy to remember, weather.gov, weather.gov. You can click on this map pretty much anywhere. Let's just click on Tampa Bay region, and you see you get a plethora of information. Forecast info, these infographics, and then info on the different watches and warnings that are out there. Sometimes they might put a video briefing up or a news headlines, the weather story of the day, whatever the case may be, depending on the weather office. We call these WFOs, the Weather Forecast Office. Really good, and here's the key, local information, all right, for your area by men and women that work at the Weather Service closest to where you live, wherever that may be. So bookmark this page. And remember it, weather.gov, weather.gov. You can also put in a zip code up here, and again, you can click anywhere. And it's not just for this storm, it's applicable in the lower 48, Alaska, Hawaii, and the U.S. territories. Very helpful, but I'm going to tell you, this is going to become very active all through here over the next 72 hours or so. All right, so what do we have? Well, a big part of this is a severe weather threat. Not much today. A little bit of a risk of thunderstorms in South Florida and then parts of Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, but it is tomorrow and tomorrow night that we are concerned the most about. Slight risk here across a pretty big population area of Florida, marginal outside of that. So pretty much the whole peninsula in the risk of convective activity or thunderstorms, organized severe weather. The tornado threat highest, 5%. I mean, come on. If somebody said you had 5% a chance of, I guess this is probably not a good analogy because, well, I was going to say being in a traffic accident, I think anywhere you are, it's probably 70% any given day. But you get what I'm trying to help you here to understand. Don't look at that as, oh, it's very low. It's high enough that you really need to be paying attention. That's the bottom line. The tornado threat, certainly there. The wind threat, not much hail at all, because these are not deep thunderstorms. You're going to get a high shear, meaning the atmosphere is turning, low cape. In other words, you're not going to have these big towering thunderstorms, but enough energy, enough shear, directional shear in the atmosphere. We have wind coming this way, wind coming this way. Thunderstorms do go up through the middle of it, and then everything starts to turn. And if you tighten that up enough, you get a little tornado to drop. Very simple fourth grade diagram for you there. So pay attention. Keep that phone handy, your NOAA weather radio. Put your TV, whatever it is you got. I have the Samsung TV on Fox Weather or your local weather outlet, and just be aware. All right, trying to keep you safe here and intact. That's the bottom line. That's what we want to do. So what's the GFS showing? This is the 6Z run, and this is a global model. We're going to look at a more high-resolution regional model in just a minute. So the GFS takes all this energy, cranks it up, sends it up the East Coast, out of the Gulf, and I want you to notice a few things. The pressure gets down there, 990s, and then it I don't want to say it bombs out, but it certainly goes pretty low, getting pretty low up there at the Canadian and U.S. border, 975. Again, if that cold air was deeply entrenched, we'd be in big trouble. There would be a lot of snow, massive power outages and whatnot. As it stands, though, this is going to be impactful enough. So let's talk about something important real quick. Different segments here that I want to make sure we cover. Travel. This will be a travel nightmare because it is going to impact every terminal from Florida all the way up to Maine and even internationally into Canada. And that needs to be taken into consideration. So you think Tampa, Fort Lauderdale, Miami, Orlando, up to Atlanta, maybe, and it might not directly impact Atlanta, this weather, but planes coming into and out of Atlanta to other hubs, Charlotte, all the way down to the regional airports like Wilmington, Richmond, Norfolk, whatever, D.C., Newark, LaGuardia, JFK, Boston. I could go on and on. You get the idea. If you are traveling this weekend by air, especially in the east, you're going to have a lot of problems. So be flexible. Remember to use this device right here. Get your airline's app and be ready to move quick when they send you push notifications. All the airlines worth their salt. Hopefully they all have these good apps now. I'm an American guy. I like American Airlines, and I get notified. Oh, your flight's disrupted, whatever. And you go right into that app, and you can start making changes quickly so that you don't want to have to be one of those poor saps standing in a line 200 people deep talking to one or two agents. I'm serious. I've seen it, and I know how it can be. So plan ahead. Change stuff today if you can, because this is coming. Look, this is going to run up the coast, and that, to me, I see this, I go, that's travel disruption. And all the major terminals are going to be impacted. And then there's a ripple effect. You know, it takes a while to unravel this big ball of twine that's going to just become a cluster, you know what. All right? So there you go. This is going to be a big deal. Lots of problems from coastal flooding to the severe weather threat that I talked about. Very heavy rain. These colors you see in here, that represents your rain rates. That's very heavy rain. Those isobars in there, lines of equal pressure, tightly packed. That's a lot of wind, 30, 40, 50 miles per hour, maybe even storm conditions in some of the coastal waters, meaning 60 to 70 miles per hour. You know, we're talking 40, 50, 60 knots if you're into that version of it, right? If that makes more sense to you. Really, we need to hype this up. This is a big deal. It really is. Now, looking at the HRRR here, the convectively allowing model, the HRRR, as people call it, storm chasers like this in the Great Plains, you got the NAMs as well, the different resolutions of the NAM model, the North American model, but the high resolution rapid refresh here, the HRRR, allows for convective activity, and it really shows you thunderstorms pretty well, and this is kind of like a simulated radar. That's the way I look at it anyway, and you can see what's happening as we get into the overnight hours tomorrow night into Sunday. these bands that are coming in, similar to tropical convection that we see, similar, not exactly, but moisture, the shear, everything's in place. That's what we're talking about. That's what the SPC is seeing, among other things, of course. But these are coming through some pretty big population areas, potentially. You're heading down this weekend to Disney, Universal, whatever the case may be. You live down there, Orlando, the villages, all the way down to the coast, Tampa, Sarasota, Venice. Yes, this is going to be problematic. And then the onshore flow, that's going to pile up the water here with that easterly to southeasterly flow. And then over here, the southwesterly flow. Anywhere where the water is pushing against the coast, you're going to pile up the water. It's easy to do. Beach erosion, storm surge, that's basically what it is going to be a problem. And this starts to move up, and this is as far out, 48 hours, as the HRRR goes. But you see, that starts to work its way up into the Carolinas as we get into the early morning hours of Sunday. I mentioned airports. You got Charlotte Douglas in here. Charleston's going to be impacted down here. Wilmington eventually. Myrtle Beach, Fayetteville, Raleigh, Durham, you name it. And then even, like I said, Atlanta sitting over here, not out of the woods, because a lot of these planes come in and out of Atlanta. Plan ahead. And then, of course, there's the interstate travel. You're going to have to just slow down. During Harold, somebody hydroplaned right in front of me. Definitely one of those FAFO moments, if you know what that means. The driver was okay, but I saw it with my own eyes. Scared me for a second. You see somebody hydroplane in front of you, and they hit that Jersey wall. It's not a good thing. And so you got to slow down. We're in a fast-paced world. Everything's just go, 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 go. We've got Christmas shopping to do. There's a lot going on. You need to take it easy, all right? Be patient. Get to where you're going intact. You're no good to me 6 feet under. That's not going to work, all right? So a couple things I wanted to show you. Again, going back to the weather.gov, sometimes you find these little gems. They do PowerPoints. They might do a video or another set of infographics depending on the office. And here's just an example for the Outer Banks of North Carolina and the coastal areas. These are your projected winds along the Outer Banks. Of course, they're going to be the highest because it's more exposed. But even inland, 30 miles per hour, mid-30s, etc., that could cause things to blow around from Christmas decorations to maybe a branch or two coming down, scattered power outages, possible, certainly. And then the different text products in here, maybe minor ocean overwash, but sound side flooding, where the water gets pushed from the Pamlico Sound, the Albemarle Sound, etc., towards land. That could be problematic. And then there are some challenges, and this is outlined right here. You can read this. There are still uncertainties, just like we see with hurricanes. Now, this will be a good rainmaker, and I know parts of Florida need that rain. A lot of people are going to get it. That's, again, for North Carolina. This is Morehead City Weather Service. This is an example from Mount Holly up in New Jersey, another infographic that they put together. And you can find these over on the weather.gov page. When you go to specific areas, you might see these pop up as a weather outlook, a weather story, whatever the case may be. But the bottom line, go back to the model here. Where was it? This is going to be a huge flooding, windy, power outage deal, whatever. And good way to segue to this. I'm serious. This is great stuff. You're going to need it. So head to Lowe's, Home Depot, lots of different places you can buy these products. From our partner at Quick Dam. Look at this. They're doing well. And I'm glad to talk about them. In fact, I'm going to tell you a real quick true story. I gave my son their flood kit that's got a variety of different things in it. And he said that he had to use it. He was over here last night hanging out with us. He's now an EMT. He said, I had to use that Quick Dam thing the other day. I had a leak. And he got out their drip mat and was able to put it on his water problem, and it soaked it right up. And it's nice because when you pick it up, it doesn't drip back out like towels do. People say, I'll just use towels. I need to go spend money on that. Oh, well, good luck with that, because when you pick those towels up, all that water is dripping out. Not with Quick Dam. And so these are the different places you can get it here. And it is available over in the UK at Tool Stop, among other places, as it starts to grow in the United Kingdom. But we'll talk about that later. Right now, the east coast of the U.S. is under the gun from quite a system, going to impact a lot of people, and we got to be ready for it. Now, normally, I would be talking about, oh, I'm getting ready to head out and cover this in X, Y, and Z locations. Well, as luck would have it, I'm getting ready to go on a much needed, not necessarily for me, because my job is very, I like what I do, but my wife needs some time to decompress. She's a nurse, and we're going to go on a vacation together for the next few days. We try to do this in December because in the hurricane season, I got to be there. And so if we have a vacation planned in hurricane season and something pops up, I can't just, well, I'm not going to be there for that hurricane. She knew what she was getting into when she married me. That's the way it goes. So we always try to do something in December and then with the family around spring break time each year. So that being said, no, I won't be out covering this. Dedicated to doing something with my wife, and we're going to be away through the 20th. So you guys have got to handle this all by yourselves, all right? And just stay safe out there, right? Be smart. Again, if you're traveling, be patient. If you're flying, I'm flying today. I'll miss everything. I'll get out of here before the shenanigans start, and I'll be back on Wednesday, and this will all happen in between. So there you go. Good timing, right? It certainly is. But the rest of you, if you're traveling, really be patient. That's the first thing, and just be safe out there if you're driving, because I need you back. They talk about wanting views and clicks and likes. Well, yeah, I got to keep you alive to do that. That's the bottom line here. I want to keep you safe and informed. All right. So that's it from me for now. I'll be back next Thursday. Come back Wednesday night, so we'll do an update Thursday. We'll be getting close to the end of the year at that point, coming up on Christmas, etc. And we'll be talking about all kinds of stuff as we get ready for 2024. All right? But between now and then, take this seriously. Be safe out there. I am Mark Sudduth from all of us at Hurricane Track. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you in a little less than a week.